Hi, Megan.
Welcome to Bad Movies Rock.
Thank you, Megan. Megan, welcome to Bad Movies Rock. How are you today?
I'm doing pretty well. It's a little bit warm, but
okay.
you know, not terrible.
Oh, okay. I'm still living in construction land.
Yes. Mm-hmm. It's starting to look good. I've seen some pictures.
Yeah.
Things are coming together.
Yeah, we can use the kitchen again. We have plywood countertops that we can put things on.
Now, is that I mean, it's a surprising choice for a new kitchen, but, you know, I like the kind of industriousness of it.
Yeah. And if you just put some contact paper down on those babies, you can wipe them down.
And, you know, you can change the contact paper every few years. So you can have a marble-looking one. You can have a checkerboard one. Mm-hmm. You could have one that's just kind of bright green. Yeah. So many options.
Versatility is really what we were going for. Mm-hmm. You know, the thing that I am loving about this is, I mean, just the sounds, the mess, the disruption, all wonderful. But my favorite is that, you know, I live in Vermont. And so, of course, the contractors are Vermonters. And there is something special about Vermonters. I've said it before. I will say it many times. There are many different varieties of Vermonter, but Vermont contractors are just the epitome of people who can do so many things. I mean, contractors in general are fucking incredible.
Yes, for sure.
The skills, the planning, the execution, what they know how to do, what they can do, what they've learned to do, all of it is math and geometry and being able to see something ahead, like just look at a space and know, like their ability to deal with just abstract concepts and then turn them into concrete functional things that we all need is invaluable and amazing. And it
really is.
I mean, I lived with a contractor my entire life, so it's one of those things that I appreciated and understood. I never actually saw him do anything useful, though.
Oh no, well, of course not.
Which is
not
why
at your house.
Which is why we now have hired people to deal with the train wreck that is our home. And just there were holes in the ceiling, people. Like the flooring is coming up. I had to keep food in like a bookshelf in my room because there just wasn't cupboard space. It's not a good situation, and it's all being fixed, and it feels magical. We have a pantry. They built a pantry. It's gorgeous. They were legitimately shocked that the deck had not fallen down on its own. But it is nice to be around. It's so many super skilled people who are actively using those skills. Also super duper humbling because I'm sitting here, sitting at my computer, editing a podcast, playing video games, and these motherfuckers are destroying and rebuilding a house. And when I say destroying, it's precision destruction. When you do demo, it's not like just wildly swinging a sledgehammer. You have to leave the things that need to be left. Incredible. Yeah. And then you need other stuff done. Like we have some trees that have grown up over the course of the past 3 decades we've lived here. And we used to have this, you know, lovely view across the valley of the mountains. And so, of course, one of them is just like, oh, yeah, no, I used to do that. I would go to a property, see the sight lines, and then we'd strategically take down trees and remove them so that it would restore the view. And also I could use the firewood. So it's just, of course, Tim can just do this. So after he's done for the day from 7 to 4, he's started falling trees on the property.
Yeah, you know, once he's done with his day job, he's going to go ahead and take down a few, like, 100-foot trees. No problem.
That's a Vermonter right there. Yeah. That's and then the accent. I get to hear the accent all day. And it's home, baby.
How does it go, Amber?
That accent? I'm not a performing monkey. You want to hear a Vermont accent, go to YouTube, motherfucker.
Okay. I
have none. I mean, I have mannerisms, but I don't have the accent.
Yeah.
It's weirdly, it's been nice to have the house be terrible. Just because I love the people.
Nice. That's awesome.
They're all so great, and they can do so many things. And I feel like the laziest, most useless person in the universe.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of how it goes.
I don't know how to hold a drill properly, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Much less when it's appropriate to use a drill.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. But Megan, thank goodness, building knowledge is not a prerequisite for this podcast. No, this podcast, my friends, that you have stumbled upon is a bad movie podcast. Now stick with me.
Okay.
Yes, we do watch bad movies, but we watch movies that critics have said were bad. We take the ones that reviews tell you, don't watch this one, it's terrible. You know, Rotten Tomatoes, Metacritic, they show you the numbers and the numbers say, nah. We say, maybe.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm. And then sometimes we say, oh, fuck yes, you dumb motherfuckers. Oh, this is my shit. And that's what it is. I'm sorry, it's not more than that. Do you need more than that? I mean, if you do, you should probably go. I mean, I'll give you a second. You can just go. Anyone who's still here, it's on you.
Yep. And here we go. We watched the 1992 Universal Soldier.
Well, Megan.
Yes, Amber.
In order to ease our listeners into this, we should probably give them a sense of how this movie is advertised on
what this movie is, yes.
the various platforms that would seek to describe it. And let's make it kind of fun. For you, at least.
Okay.
By playing the time-honored game. Which is which.
Okay.
I shall read you summaries from Amazon, IMDb, Metacritic, and Amber, and you shall tell me which is which.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Ready.
This one's actually going to be kind of hard.
Okay.
Devereaux and Scott were killed in Vietnam, but the Army has a secret project for reanimating their dead as near-perfect soldiers.
That's the whole thing?
That's the whole thing. 2 rival soldiers who were killed in Vietnam are brought back to life in a top-secret military experiment that creates superhuman warriors.
Okay.
The bodies of 2 deceased Vietnam veterans are re-engineered into battle-ready warriors in this action film.
These are all so short.
They're all so short. I know, it's hard.
It's confusing.
It's hard. It's you don't even have like the Metacritic fallback of it was a tapestry of emotion.
Right. And they're so short that like they're not like they're pretty close to the truth, which means I can't find the one that's just outwardly like
you can't find Amazon. I know.
Which is Amazon, yeah.
Yeah. And the final one.
Yes.
2 soldiers killed in Vietnam are reanimated in an attempt to answer the age-old question, can you ethically source super soldiers?
Oh, you made yours short too.
How do you know that's mine? You haven't played the game yet, Megan.
Sorry. Okay. I'm going to go with Metacritic, IMDb, Amazon, Amber.
That's fucking creepy. That's fucking creepy. There was nothing to go on there. You had nothing to go on. That was bland. It was short. No, you cheated. You're a cheat. Or a witch. One of the two.
Yeah, one of the two.
Or both.
A cheating witch.
You could be a cheating witch, which is worse than either of the other options independently. A cheating witch playing witch is wrong.
You're right.
Anyway, congratulations, I guess.
Thank you.
They were very short. Wait, I can keep mine short too, okay?
Yes, of course you can.
I can follow the lead.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I can't. I can. You know, they were 2 different Universal Soldiers streaming on Amazon, and I just looked at them both. Completely different. I can't even tell you the difference between the 2 versions. They're both just Universal Soldier. Maybe one of them is HD.
Huh.
Still different synopses.
Weird choice, Amazon.
Very consistent.
Amber, what did the critics want to say about this movie?
They wanted to say don't watch it. 35 for the critics on Metacritic and 73 for the users.
73?
It is a fond film for these 6 reviewers.
Interesting.
6.
Wow, yeah. We've got 34 for the critics and 46 for the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes.
I assume more people scored it on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, over 50,000.
Wow. Rotten Tomatoes really wins on user scores. They're
yes, it does.
Metacritic, I don't think even touches their numbers.
Yeah. Well, certainly not 6 to 50,000. Yes. And then what did the critics say, Amber?
Like with their with their words?
Were there word holes, yeah.
For the most part, nothing good. There was a lot of it's derivative. There was a lot of Jean-Claude Van Damme and Dolph Lundgren can't act.
They're interesting as soup cans, as one reviewer said.
Soup cans?
Yeah, I don't know why that was,
Interesting. I think my favorite diss of that was when they said they were more realistic as stoic cadavers than once their memories start to return.
Oh, okay.
From Brian Lowry at Variety. I like that. It's a diss. I thought that was pretty clever.
Yeah, it's a very good diss, yeah.
This one just, I don't know. I like the pieces of this one. Dwayne Burge at The Hollywood Reporter. It's a 20% score. It's a bad memory trip through the wasteland of movies past, swamped with bonehead dialogue, stock parts, cookie-cutter romance, and gunked to the gills with generic techno drool.
Gunk to the gills, eh?
With generic techno drool. He was having fun. He was on something.
Yep.
Just be a bonehead, cookie-cutter, gunked gills, wasteland of movies past.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a very beautiful review.
It was evocative.
Yes.
I didn't really feel any romance at all.
No.
There might have been some motions to it, but...
No, but yeah, it's yeah.
Also, there wasn't...
There's a girl and a guy in it, so...
There are two
obviously...
oppositely sexed people in this film. Mm-hmm. Yes.
But they didn't push that, which I did like about it.
Didn't do anything with that.
No.
And then techno drool. There was almost no technological or scientific discussion whatsoever.
No, they kind of they hand waved over it a little bit later in the film.
Science.
With Jerry Orbach.
Just science. Mm-hmm. Just science.
We scienced, and therefore we've got super soldiers.
They have a thing on their head, and we put a thing in their brains. It's like goo. And then it's cold, so there's a lot of CO2 gas, smoke around. Science.
Yep. Okay.
We made science.
We made science.
But yeah, largely the negative ones are this is derivative, they can't act, it's not good. And then the other ones are it's standard issue, but it's fun, it's nostalgic, it's silly. There's this one from Kenneth Turan at the Los Angeles Times. It may be standard issue stuff, but it looks great, and it almost makes you nostalgic for the days when stuntmen reigned supreme and mayhem and computers never knew how much they had in common. Yeah. That's a good, a 60% review blurb that kind of gives you a sense it's a lot of stuntmen stuff. It's some action scenes. The thing that's interesting to me is that... one of them mentions, you have to be big on bloody slaughter, kickboxing, infrared gunning, and impaired acting. But there was actually very little use of Jean-Claude Van Damme's martial arts skills, or Dolph Lundgren's, for that matter.
Yeah.
In this movie. It was mostly guns and chasing and a lot of stuntman play, throwing guys through walls and falling and getting shot, and a lot less actual martial arts action.
Yeah. Which I would have preferred the latter, but...
Very much so. And I'm surprised that the critics wouldn't have. I mean, this is what Jean-Claude Van Damme is known for.
Right.
And Dolph Lundgren, to a lesser extent. I think he's mostly just used as big giant man.
Big guy,
But he's also a pretty avid martial artist.
Yep. So one thing that I was reading just general reviews about this, and... Amber, Vern's reviews. So, by the way, happy anniversary, Amber. This is the 30th anniversary of Universal Soldier, 1992.
Oh, yeah. Look at us go.
Just a couple months off.
Relevant.
Yes. So, one of the things that Vern said was that in looking at the reviews, so many... of the negative reviews are the ones that were contemporary with the movie itself. And the more recent reviews from the past few years are actually relatively higher than those first reviews. And I think one of the things is, I think a movie like this gets a little bit of a cult following because it's kind of that 90s, quintessential 90s movie.
Very much so.
It's a little bit goofy. I think maybe people didn't appreciate Roland Emmerich's kind of
sensibilities
where you have Jean-Claude Van Damme coming at Dolph Lundgren, and Dolph Lundgren's making a face that is made, it's a comedy, Yeah. And I think that some of the lines that actually both Jean-Claude Van Damme and Dolph Lundgren say are very much can be taken as comical in the way that they say them, because it's all very, supposed to be deadpan, but it also such that it comes off kind of silly sometimes.
The deadpan, I think, isn't intended to be silly. And I think the cartoonish caricature dings from the critics are actually intentional.
Yes.
I would agree that there's a very 90s sensibility to this, but I think my guess would be the thing that modern critics are responding to is the intentionality and sort of almost the self-referential aspect of how Roland Emmerich does it.
Right.
Because I think a lot of 90s movies were dead serious about how ridiculous they were. Whereas this has that same level of, we have a dude slaughtering people in the Vietnam War and making an ear necklace, and serious concepts of we are killing people and there is extreme violence. But also we have Jean-Claude Van Damme getting naked on the regular and asking his lady co-star to feel him up and look for something hard as she's searching him for a tracking device. Like every scene with those two is silly and intentionally silly. It's not whoopsie silly. And so it may be that a movie that actually intended to do that didn't really have a place.
Yeah. And then the more you watch, this movie probably got Roland Emmerich more movies like Independence Day and White House Down and things like that, so that the more movies you see from Roland Emmerich, the more you get a sense of his movie making and sensibilities. The more you look back at this movie, one of his earlier ones, and say, oh, I get it now.
Yep. Deeply serious, deeply silly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's I don't think 35 is necessarily, especially for a 90s movie. This does what a 90s movie does. Maybe it's not shiny and new, but it's entertaining. It's fine. It's entertaining. And I'm surprised the critics were so down on it, beyond the fact that it may just not have had a good genre niche to slide into. And so what they're looking for, they didn't get. And what they did get didn't match up with the other aspects of the film, perhaps.
And it avoids a lot of what 90s movies are very much known for, at least the ones we rewatch. It avoided any overt homophobia, transphobia, racism mostly, except for when they were in the war. But that was kind of intentionally because they were there. Yeah, honestly, yes. So. And there is something I actually specifically want to talk about that kind of links into that, just with how the male bodies are displayed in this movie and who this movie would conceivably be intended for. Interesting. Yeah.
Which we can get to when we talk about those scenes.
Yeah.
Critics, I get it. You get confused, and that's okay. You just got to expand your mind and your expectations. And I mean, and nostalgia is all well and good, but it also affords you some hindsight in terms of how movies are made today. And we have an expanded concept of what's possible, what's popular, what people actually respond to. And I think that helps, just because there's so many more people making them and so many more ways to distribute them and find audiences who respond to them.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely.
Not that this is necessarily one of those movies.
No.
But,
Yeah. Well, anyway, critics, meh.
The usual.
So, Amber, tell me a little bit about this movie. You mentioned before, these cold rooms. Why on earth do we need some chilly rooms, Amber?
Megan, I'm so glad you asked. Well, I'm just going to start at the most logical place, and that is, we've been watching a lot of soldier movies lately.
Yeah, we have.
We started.
It's a theme.
It has become thematic. It helps us choose what to watch next with very little pain. We started with the G.I. Joe. In the first one, you did have, movements toward super soldiering. Cobra was injecting people with nanomites, wiping their brains and making them immune to pain and poison. Mm-hmm. Yes. So, then we had Soldier, of course, our last movie, where we were harvesting infants and raising them to be super soldiers.
Yes.
And now we have, the movie starts with two soldiers in Vietnam, Lundgren and Van Damme, Andrew Scott and Luc Devereaux. Luke comes upon Andrew making some jewelry.
Yeah, he's taking some ears and is making a necklace out of them. That's disturbing, eh?
Yeah, so Luke's unit is being murdered, and then he shows up in this town, and it's just Andrew, 2 Vietnamese civilians, and Luke. And Luke's like, why is everyone dead? We searched this village, and Andrew's just gone completely apeshit and racist. Yeah. He's decided all Vietnamese people are traitors. He's gonna kill them all and I guess make ear jewelry. And they have a fight and they murder each other, and then other people show up and to this clearly bad situation. You have one guy inspecting Andrew's body, finding the ear necklace, and he's like, shit, what do we do with this?
This is bad.
And the commanding officer is just like, Code Zebra. I'm sorry, what? Code Zebra. We never found these guys. They're MIA. Don't fucking worry about it.
Which is disturbing that it happens frequently enough that there is a code for it, Amber.
You know, the code that we use for when one of our soldiers just goes bonkers, batshit murder crazy and just starts killing everybody, and then another soldier is forced to kill him, and then they kill each other, and then we just have dead bodies?
Yep.
MIA! Code Zebra!
Yep.
And then from there, we use these dead soldiers to make super soldiers years later. It is supposed to be modern day 90s. When this happened in 1969, yes. These men have not aged. They have been reanimated, and it isn't until probably the last 3/4 of the movie that they even make an effort to start explaining why they haven't aged, why they need to be kept cold. They have little monitors on their wrists that tell them if they're getting overheated and they need to get into an ice bath. And even when we first see them, they come out of this massive truck. There's always smoke billowing out of it, and they're kept in this room in the center that's this cold room where they get injected with some serum that apparently wipes their memories and also gives them superpowers, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
We meet the original scientist who tells us, oh, yeah, we learned that you could hyper-accelerate dead tissue to reanimate it.
What? What do you mean hyper-accelerate?
You hyper-accelerate the dead tissue to reanimate it. I mean, God, Jesus, can we just move past this? But you have to keep them cold after you've done it, or they'll overheat and they'll have a stroke. I mean,
sure.
But my question to you, have we reached a more ethical way to create the super soldier? Like, okay, Cobra, in theory, might have been using volunteers, but they were also forcing nanomites on people who already had lives and opinions and ways to be. Making them immune to poison, great. Stripping them of free will, probably bad. Then we have soldier, infant harvesting and training and using Dobermans and pigs and then shooting the slow ones. Great. And now we have, okay, they were already soldiers, one.
Yeah.
Then they died. So they used up their life. It had come to an end. What are they going to do with that body?
They're not doing anything with it.
They're not doing anything with it. They're done with it, and they'd already dedicated themselves to being soldiers for the United States.
So it's like organ donation. When you donate your entire organ altogether.
The whole organ of you.
The whole body organ, yes.
Is making a mindless flesh golem out of dead soldiers, if not ethical, more ethical than baby harvesting and nanomiting.
That might be true. Yes, I would say in this wonderful array of options, this might be the most ethical one.
And let's look at how they're being used. Cobra, obviously, nefarious terroristic purposes. Very bad.
Yes.
Soldier, not great either.
No, no. They just were war. Yeah. And
it really didn't seem, especially at the end there, they're just like, oh, they're not supposed to be there. Training exercise, murder them all. It'll be fun. These guys, they show up to a hostage situation at Hoover Dam, I think.
Yes, they do.
And some guys are holding people hostage, shooting hostages every bit of time, setting up a bomb, maybe, it looks like. Hard to say.
Yeah.
And this plane lands, and this massive truck comes out, and then it deploys, and smoke comes out, and then, oh shit, that's Andrew and Luke. That's Dolph Lundgren and
Wait a
Jean-Claude Van
second.
Damme. They have not aged a day. And, they don't seem to have any free will. And then you just have the truck doubles as a refrigeration station and a command center. Mm-hmm. And they send these soldiers in, and they get the job done. No one dies.
Yeah.
All the hostages are fine. Well, not no one. The terrorists die. Headshots for everyone.
Yes, headshots for everyone. And one of the what are they called? Unisols?
The Universal Soldiers.
Yep.
But the abbreviation
is Unisol.
sounds like a fucking software or a cleaning product. Yes.
Yeah, it's gonna. Yeah, you're right. It's a software cleaning product. Kind of like what is it, McAfee and the other ones that prevent viruses on your computer. Anyway,
I like this.
Yeah. So, one of them gets all shot to heck. We also learn...
For the sake of getting intel, they know he's going to get shot.
Yes. Oh, yeah. It is entirely...
Strategic, yeah. But it doesn't kill him, because he already dead.
Because he's already dead. Yeah, you can... Amber, what I've learned is when you're already dead, you can recover from your injuries very quickly.
I mean, once you hyper-accelerate those cells, Megan.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. But you got to keep them cold.
You do. So they're like an elite task force that at least on their fourth mission are doing relatively good things, I guess.
It seems pretty good. Like we hear in a press conference it's their fourth successful mission without any civilian casualties. Mm-hmm. And the press seems to like them. They want to know who they are, and they're told, oh, no, these men have families. We have to keep them confidential to keep them safe. These men don't have families. They are corpses. Well, I guess the living man had a family. Anywho. It kind of seems like they're doing pretty good work with these, at least comparatively speaking, ethically sourced super soldiers.
Yeah, absolutely.
The problem is... Mm-hmm. that we learn that perhaps they are not completely devoid of their former memories, and in fact, they might actively be wiping them of it.
Right. So, yes. So they, and like you said in your, earlier, that they've taken, at least some of these soldiers from this Zebra operation in which they know someone just was making an ear necklace and they put two people that were in that same battalion and killed each other into this program together. And guess what? These memories start coming up and they become bitter rivalries all over again, Amber.
Indeed. Luke, the one who took down Andrew, starts to remember that fateful night.
Yep.
And Andrew starts to remember his love of ear jewelry.
He does, yes. Yep. And it's my understanding, actually, they use the same actors in the Vietnam scene that they did in the Hoover Dam scene.
Oh.
Which triggers Luke's memories. They were just dressed in different outfits, obviously.
Well, it just seems like cheating.
Yeah, yep. No wonder they were so familiar.
And, this wouldn't have been... So the science of this is negligible. But the main...
negligible, ever.
As well as negligent. Because we not only don't really learn what they're using to wipe their memories or whatever and how they're making them super healing and super strong, or what is hyperacceleration?
What is it?
Doesn't matter. But don't use the body. We know this. You don't cut hands off of serial killers and attach them to people. You don't use brains from killers and put them in Frankenstein monsters. And you certainly don't use the entire brain and body of somebody who started making ear jewelry.
Yeah. Yeah, come on, people. You got to be smarter than this.
If you're going to do that, you certainly don't, when they start to get their memories back, say, nah, it's gonna be fine.
Although, Amber, we also learned that these, each one of these unisols are worth $250 million.
Fair, okay.
So there's a reason that maybe you try to overcome this fact that they're starting to remember shit.
You have a unit of, was it like 8 dudes?
Yeah.
So,
Ish, yeah.
Yeah, you've got like $2 billion worth of flesh golem. Mm-hmm. But that's a sunk cost fallacy, as we learn. Because, okay, you don't want to retire these two. Luke is clearly having some glitches. He's not hurting anybody, but he's glitching out a bit with his memories. And then Andrew is hurting people. To insist on keeping them in the program because you've got a sunk cost fallacy...
Yeah, leads to...
the whole program being destroyed.
Whole program. Yeah, yep.
So that you can't... That's... What really happened here wasn't the science, which was clearly good, or the ethics, clearly unimpeachable. It was the hubris of the man in charge.
Yeah. That's a good point, Amber.
Thank you. And that's what ultimately brings really, really good ideas down. You put the wrong person in charge.
Yeah.
He makes bad choices. Because after this very, very good 4th mission where they save all the hostages, a reporter... Allie Walker plays Veronica Roberts, our intrepid reporter. She loses her job when she shows up at the Hoover Dam to do some reporting. And she thinks, I can get back in if I make my cameraman come with me to go to this secret military base that has terrible security. And I'll just wander around and try and find these soldiers that no one will let us meet.
Yep.
But Andrew's starting to get his memory back. Mm-hmm. And he shoots the cameraman. And then Luke, who's also starting to get his memory back, saves Veronica.
Yep.
And they go off on a fun adventure together while at first the army is trying to find Luke. And then as Andrew gets more and more of his memory back, Andrew sort of takes over with murder.
Yes.
And it becomes sort of a...
Yeah.
1v1. 1v1. Yeah. It's not the army anymore. It's just sort of crazy revenge stuff.
Right. Because Andrew literally takes down all the scientists who are working in this vehicle and ends up getting a bunch of the other soldiers killed and all of that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whereas Luke is just sort of on a fun trip with Veronica.
Yes.
Sort of recovering his memories. Mm-hmm. And there doesn't seem to be that much of an end game. With what Luke wants beyond keeping Veronica safe.
He also wants to go home, Amber.
Once he realizes he has a home, yes. But that takes some time.
Yes. And we're told later on by Jerry Orbach, the kind of head scientist, that, what was it, Amber? They get caught in, they've got when they die, their brain goes into this, like, loop. Like a
traumatic memory loop from the time of the moment of their death.
Yeah.
I can't remember the exact term that he used to make it sound sciencey, but...
Right. So all Luke wants to do is go home, and all Andrew wants to do is murder and make ear necklaces.
Yes, because when Luke died, he was like, my tour's almost over. I just want to go home. Please stop making ear necklaces. And Andrew was like, I want to make ear necklaces and kill everyone. And then they shot each other. So I guess they're stuck with their last deep wish.
Yeah.
And that's largely the movie. Is sort of a buddy road trip comedy with Luke and Veronica. Yes. And Andrew just killing his way across the country.
Yeah. And of course, Luke and Veronica have to find ice everywhere they go because in order for Luke to recover and not to have this stroke, they just get bags of ice and put him in, a trunk, a bathtub, etc.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And as we learn on the truck, these men, when they are not being deployed, are stored on the command center's science cool truck. In the middle of the truck, in this glass enclosure where they're all just sitting in chairs, and they are fully nude.
Yes.
All of them, all the time.
Yep.
They strip, and then they get in these chairs, and they sit in these chairs naked, where it's presumably cold. And so every time they need to cool Luke down, they put him in a tub with ice, and he gets naked. He always gets naked.
Yep.
Clothes need to come off. So we see a lot of very well-built men very naked.
Yes, we do.
And we see just all of Jean-Claude Van Damme, at least the back view.
Yeah, from behind for sure.
Like 2 or 3 times.
Yes.
For extended periods of time as he's trying to cool off.
Which is interesting because that is Veronica, essentially the only woman in the movie, It does not wear, it is, there's no,
She's dressed very practically.
Yeah.
The voyeurism is entirely on extremely well-built male forms. And this movie, it's an action movie. It's a shoot-'em-up action movie. In the 90s, your assumed audience is dudes. But the physical form nudity voyeurism is entirely very well-built men. And I'm not going to draw any conclusions from that. It's just different and interesting to me.
Yeah.
That you have literally on display fine physical specimens of all races. Just naked.
Just naked.
For no real practical purpose. If you have a super cooled room, I don't think a couple millimeters of cloth is really going to make a difference. Sure, take off the body armor, but do they need to be fully nude?
In this world, yes, Amber.
In this world, they do. And so, like, the voyeurism is entirely pretty naked dudes.
Yep. Yeah.
It intrigues me.
It's very interesting.
So, you mentioned that Ali Walker's character, Veronica, is the only woman in the movie other than two mothers that have brief moments. And one of the critics mentioned romance. Nah.
No, it's not really there.
No. I mean, even when Luke determines, oh, I must have a tracking device on me, so gets nude again, and then asks her to feel him up and find something hard. And there's innuendo there, and that's the joke. But it's not like she's staring
enjoying
at him
it.
or enjoying it or making any motions to, wow, yeah, I'm into it.
No,
I'm flustered. The problem, she has to take a tracking device deep out of his thigh, and she's like, are you okay? As she looks up at his ass and testicles. But there's nothing...
Yeah.
It's not played sexually, and there's really nothing sexual about it beyond the silly innuendo.
Right. Yep.
And at the end of it, she's helping it. She's helping him. He's helping her. They're in a life-threatening situation, but there's no kiss. There's no let's ride off into the sunset. There's nothing.
Yeah.
They're just helping each other.
Yeah. Pretty great.
It's kind of great.
Yeah. So, one thing, so Amber, going back to Vern, and his website where he reviewed this movie, he felt, at least in the beginning, or the first time he watched it, he really didn't like Ali Walker's character, thought she was kind of annoying and such. But then on a more recent viewing, found her actually kind of great. And Roger Ebert, from the very beginning, thought that the most interesting character was Veronica.
No, she's certainly the most well-rounded character, since she's not a reanimated, mindless soldier for most of it, living out like a consistent death fantasy.
Which is, yes, and we do run into the thing that we often run into with these types of movies is like, they are very, the soldiers themselves are very like stoic and flat, and they don't say much, and they don't, like, and that works somewhat sometimes, but it is hard to have two of your main actors essentially have very little personality.
Or a very one-note personality.
Or a very one-note personality.
Have, like, once Luke regains his personality, Jean-Claude Van Damme's character is innocent, boyish, and chivalric. Heroic and sweet. Yeah. And Andrew Dolph Lundgren's character is just a fucking crazy psychopath.
Right. Yep.
He just says vaguely racist things and kills people.
Yep.
Whereas Veronica...
Yeah.
I will agree she is kind of abrasive and selfish and annoying in the beginning of the movie, but that's her character, and she's playing it. She is a reporter who kind of doesn't give a shit about everybody else, very focused on the story, very focused on herself, very focused on her own problems. And then there is an arc with her as she becomes more invested in what's happening, and she becomes more desperate as she's framed for a bunch of murders as the military tries to cover up what's happening, but is very practical, very consistent, she doesn't freak out, but she has legitimate reactions to things as they're happening, and plays key roles in a lot of the action without being a full-on damsel.
Right. Yep. Yeah. And Roger Ebert kind of ended up saying that if she can sell this dialogue, she can play anything.
She was very good. Yeah.
She was very good, yeah.
I actually really liked her character quite a bit. And I like Ally Walker. I never really watched The Profiler, which was her main thing.
Her big thing, yeah.
She's worked consistently. But yeah, I've always been kind of fond of that actor. And I thought she did an excellent job with the character and the dialogue.
Yeah, absolutely. And I again, like that she wasn't a full damsel and that there wasn't any real love story that was, because that's often what they kind of pack this stuff with. And
well, we do have a man and a woman, so... Yeah, agreed. Mm-hmm. And we would be remiss if we did not discuss action in this action movie.
Yes, yep.
Are you ready to talk about that?
I think so.
Okay.
Let's...
Jean-Claude Van Damme and Dolph Lundgren are accomplished martial artists. Jean-Claude Van Damme specifically is well known for his skills. It's kind of the whole thing. No, not much of that in this movie.
Which is disappointing. I would have enjoyed more of that, but they stuck with the standard 90s tropes of blow 'em ups, car antics, pushing people through walls, etc.
Run and gun, throwing people around. There's a scene where he just runs through every wall in a motel. Mm-hmm. That poor stuntman.
Yeah.
And there's a few moments. Probably one of my favorite scenes, of course, is the diner scene.
Yes. Yep.
Where he rediscovers food. I guess they do not give them food as super soldiers.
Uh-huh. Yep. They must get injected with sustenance. And when he discovers food, he eats, I don't know, all of it.
All of it. They just keep bringing him plates, and he's just clearly thoroughly enjoying them. And finally, this pretty grumpy waitress. I'm sure she's had a fucking day.
Yeah.
But she finally approaches. How are you going to pay for all this? Mm-hmm. I don't know. And Veronica's, she was with him in the beginning, and then she went to take a phone call. So they could just wait and see if maybe she's the one who's going to pay. Instead, she calls out the chef, and he wants to know how he's going to pay for it. And Luke is just letting him know it tastes really good, and he's thoroughly enjoying it.
Yeah.
And then they start to attack him. He doesn't want to hurt him, but it
doesn't.
If they attack him, he's going to hurt him. But it's very efficient action. It's just sort of an elbow, a knee, a head into a table, as most of the diner comes at him for some inexplicable reason.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, after you watched him plant the first 3 guys, you would think,
I would not get up. There's some guy who gets up again. It's like, are you kidding me? None of you have landed a punch on him.
Yep.
You really think you can do it after he's already knocked you out for a few seconds?
Mm-hmm. And he maintains this same sort of open, naive, I just want to eat. Why are you doing this?
Yeah, exactly.
I
haven't eaten in what's probably 80 years. Can I please just eat?
So hungry, and this tastes so good. Yeah. It tastes good. Your food is good, man.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably the most martial artsy scene that happens in the movie. It's also clearly played for comedy. Mm-hmm. And so it's a nice little moment. And you have the showdown between Lundgren and Van Damme at the end is pretty hands-on fisticuffsy, but it's a more throwing people through walls and punching, and it's a little straightforward, very 90s white guy action movie.
Very straightforward. Andrew gets shoved into a thresher and gets spit out.
Yeah. Straightforward, making man chunks out of a flesh golem. I mean, how else are you going to deal with something that can't die, other than burning it, which we learned when
also works
when Luke
just then they have a stroke. Yeah.
Fire makes sense because they can't get overheated. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. Look at the consistent science in this movie.
Yeah. So unimpeachable.
So the action is very 90s action. It's nothing to write home about.
It is. Yeah. And don't use their main stars for what they are now at least known for and very good at, which is disappointing. So I don't know how much you know about this, Amber, but Jean-Claude Van Damme and Dolph Lundgren had a feud in the trades for a while. Do you know this thing?
Nope.
Where they got into a fight at the Cannes Film Festival in 1992, like on the red carpet.
Oh boy!
Like it became like a shoving match.
Oh boy!
But it was later revealed that it was actually all staged by Jean-Claude Van Damme. He and Dolph Lundgren are actually pretty good friends and decided to do this thing in order to...
Like, I just kind of assumed they were really good friends. So when you were like, I didn't know that. I thought they probably were buddies.
Yep. No, it seems like they are. And like, this was a whole stunt thing that they did. And they actually got the idea because 2 years earlier, Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger ended up on the Cannes Film Festival red carpet doing the waltz together.
Aww.
Isn't that really cute?
That just makes me happy.
Apparently, Stallone and Schwarzenegger at that time were they didn't know each other very well. The people didn't know each other that well, and Arnold was promoting Terminator 2, and Stallone was there. I can't remember what he was there for. But like they'd been a little bit rivals just in terms of box office, like, and later Arnold was interviewed and was like, yeah, no, we hadn't really spent a lot of time together. We didn't really know each other. We just kind of knew each other from like movie box office things. But then the Gypsy Kings were there and started playing some music, and we just started to dance. And there's this film of them just waltzing around. It's really adorable.
It's so adorable. I mean, not least because how did they so organically determine who would lead?
Apparently Schwarzenegger led, and kind of as they were finishing up, Stallone said, I can't with this. You're leading and I hate it. Anyway. Yep. So in any case, I kind of wish, in my personal view, I would have loved to see a Jean-Claude and Dolph waltz. I would have found even better, but
I would say they'd have to...
kind of media stunt came from that, yeah.
I would prefer a tango, like not just a straight waltz. I would say they would have to do a different dance, and I would opt for the tango because it is also a classic, but sexier.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, I would have preferred a dance.
Yeah.
But it's too similar, I suppose. That's nice.
Anyway, yeah.
That adds some flavor to this film.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you're welcome. So Amber, what would you rate this film on the rock scale? Regrettable, outstanding, crazeballs, K, solid?
Well, this is, again, another one from the 90s involving ultraviolence and soldiers that I really enjoyed as a kid.
Yep.
Yeah, as an adult, it's K. It's got like little crazeballs touches. But I would say I have more fondness for Soldier than I do Universal Soldier. And I like Soldier better as a movie.
Yep.
Whereas this one is fine. It's good. I'm glad I forced you to watch it. But, I wouldn't necessarily say run out and put this in your peepers.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, K with some, with some crazeballs thrown in there. Just kind of the ridiculousness of it. Fun, entertaining, certainly. If you're bored, watch it.
And it's not going to piss you off with misogyny or homophobia.
Yeah, pretty great. Good job.
Yeah.
Bare minimum.
Bare minimum. Which is Excelsior for fucking
for
90s.
90s, yes. And now, yes.
Bare motherfucking minimum. Well, Megan. Do an Issa story.
Yeah, so I was hearing about how Abby and Maddie went to this birthday party and they had like a little climbing wall, and Maddie apparently had climbed, she's very good at climbing, so she climbed up pretty high, and apparently she fell from about 6 feet.
Oh boy.
And Erica just like swooped her up and caught her just out of the air.
Ooh.
Like the superhero that she is.
Yeah.
And so Maddie was telling me about this. I said, wow, that's amazing. Great job, Erica. And then Maddie said, yeah. And we had a juice box and then I drank the juice box. So you know
what the highlight was, Megan.
The equal import, Amber.
So yeah. Mom did an amazing, toddler catch, but also juice box, and I drank it.
Yep. Okay.
Did you hear the part where I drank it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know what? Good point. Great job. Yeah, anyway.
Magic of the child brain.
Mm-hmm. It's very good.
Erica is a superhero.
Absolutely. 100%.
I always assumed she was more like the intellectual superhero, sort of like Professor X level, just like massively powerful because of her brain and her ability to be just insanely funny and insightful, but didn't know she was also like the physical side of the superhero.
Yeah, I mean, I think that those powers are just started to come out, and I think we're all either very much in trouble or just actually saved. I'm not sure which.
You know, either way, I feel saved, because if we're in trouble, it's the kind of trouble I get behind. You know, like if she's gonna devastate the land, it's gonna be for a good reason, even if I don't understand it. I'm fine with that.
All right, I get behind that for sure. Amber, do you have any recommendations?
I do. It's one I've already made, but it's sort of an updated version and a reminder to make sure you find the whole gamut of this lovely thing. I have recommended Tuca and Birdie. The first season was on Netflix because it was a Netflix show. Then they canceled it. But then Cartoon Network Adult Swim picked it back up again. I forced Megan to watch the first season on Netflix, and we started watching. We've gotten through the second season. That's on it's HBO Max if you don't have access to Cartoon Network/Adult Swim. And the third season's airing right now, and it's being added as they go to HBO Max.
Excellent.
So we've gotten through the second season. We're going to start the third season soon. It is still great. Fewer boobs. That's fine. That's a sacrifice I'm willing to make because the humor and the storytelling is still so very there.
Yeah, still excellent. Yep.
It's again, two women who are bird people. It's an animated show. Everybody's a animal person. It's Lisa Hannawalt is the show creator. Then you have Ali Wong and Tiffany Haddish is the main voices. Most of the voice cast, the main voice cast, are people of color. And then they have amazing guest stars doing voices. And the storytelling is just really good. It's two women doing women things, dealing with fucking joy and hardship and trauma without it being the main part of their character. It's just part of who they are. And there's therapy in this second season. There's relationships, queer relationships, and toxicity. And just, they have these moments where sometimes it's just even more simplified animation and music that are some of the most beautiful moments and evocative moments. It's a really good, clever, creative show with women as the centerpiece and women writers and talking about really good, normal, but often overlooked issues. And it's good. And it's also funny and weird. You have to be in the right place to be able to get into it.
Yes. It's not a brainless watch.
No.
At all.
But it feels good when you watch it.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yes. It is not a hard watch either, but it's a pay attention watch.
Megan, do you have a recommendation?
I do, Amber. This is also going to be kind of a repeat recommendation, but I'm okay. As you know, at least, Amber, this is the summer of the Italian ice.
Sure.
I've declared it such, and that makes it such. So I've already said this. I've made my own Italian ice at home, how delicious that is. But now, Amber, I am prepared to give some ratings of store-bought Italian ices. I know this is what everybody's been waiting for. First, actually, I'm going to start off with the two major Italian ice places, like places that will give you like a cup of Italian ice, are Ralph's and Rita's. Ralph's is amazing. Rita's, don't even bother going. It's pure sugar and not interesting at all. And they only got like 4 flavors. Ralph's, they've got a bunch of flavors. Passion fruit is top notch. Everything else is pretty darn good too. Go to Ralph's. It's kind of a New York and surrounding area specialty, but that is my recommendation. In terms of the Italian ice you can buy at the store, okay, they all have different things going for them. Lindy's is going to be my top one. Lindy's, delicious, soft Italian ice, but not too soft, not too sugary. And it doesn't have, though, if you're thinking of your Italian ice from the ice cream truck, it doesn't have that bottom bit that's like the sugar bit at the bottom. Do you know this, Amber?
No.
Did you ever get
not
Italian ice
had
from
Italian
the
ice
cream
in
truck?
decades.
Okay. So if you want that, so what it is like there's a bottom bit of the very bottom of the Italian ice cup is kind of a more icy but like super sugary part, which is delicious. And if you want that in your Italian ice, you want to go to Marino's Italian ice in the grocery store. That Italian ice is really good for that reason. It is a little more artificial tasting and will leave your teeth feeling a little like has film on it a little bit, but maybe it's worth it for that sugar at the end of it. And kind of the in-between is Luigi's Italian ice. Still pretty darn good. I feel like the single flavors are really good. The mixed flavors, when you get like the blue raspberry and lemon together, the blue raspberry is actually kind of almost the sticky sweet, and it's only balanced out by that lemon, which is pretty good. So I would stick to more of the single flavors of the Luigi's. So
Thank you.
There you go.
Very comprehensive review of available Italian ice options.
Yes, you're welcome.
No, that's you should have a blog.
Yep. I think I just said everything I needed to say, though.
That's fair. Also, I'm not sure blogging is still a thing.
Not sure at all. Yeah.
Probably dated myself a little bit. Oh, and just as a reminder, if you want to see the first season of Tuca and Birdie, you still have to go to Netflix. Then go to HBO Max /Adult Swim for seasons 2 and 3.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
But start on Netflix. Otherwise, you won't get the full story. Well, Megan, this has been lovely. We kept it to an hour-ish, which is still too long, but better.
Yeah.
And just as a quick thing that we often don't do, not because we don't want to interact with you, it's just because the vast majority of our audience we already interact with because you're just our friends. But if you wanted to reach out and say something, you could do so.
Yes. Bad Movies Rock on Twitter and Bad Movies Rock podcast at Gmail if you wanted to write to us.
There it is. Yeah. We got the socials. We exist.
Yes, we do.
All right. Well, Megan, good job and bye.
Thank you. And Amber, I'm gonna say what I always say, which is I'm going to switch it up a little bit. I feel like I've been focusing, Bad Movies Rock. I've been focusing on the rock part. We all know that this is the Badiverse, Amber.
Nope.
We know that in the future we are going to have Bad to the Bones, which is going to be our Bones fan podcast. Maybe our Bones podcast. Let's just go with that. So I realize I need to expand my quotations a little bit.
Really don't.
I'm going to say...
You've just exhausted rock shit, and now you need to move on to something else. Don't fucking play.
No way, Amber. I've got plenty of rock shit. I don't know what you're talking about. But I will end, like I always do, by quoting Oscar Wilde saying, "It is absurd to divide people into good and bad. People are either charming or tedious."
I mean, yeah, you fucking quoted Oscar Wilde at me. I can't get mad at that. Generally speaking, he's right, or he's wrong in a fun way, and I still get behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Charming or tedious. You know which one you are.
You do. Look in the mirror, folks. Goodbye, Amber.
Goodbye, Megan.